Hi everybody, and welcome to the Voices of Experience Digital Media Project. My name is Christopher Leslie, and I'm one of the directors for Inside Out Support Wales, who are bringing you this fantastic new project. We have got together a series of interviews with people that have got lived experience detailing their journey. We hope you find the interviews as inspirational as we found shooting them. Enjoy.
I'm Daniel Sedgwick from Wolverhampton, 29 years old, and I'm Managing Director of Next Life Recruitment Agency, specialising in ex-offenders.
Okay, and how did you end up in that field, in this field?
Through my own life experiences. So I got 10 years when I was 18. I played football at a professional football club before that, so my life changed pretty quickly. I left West Brom, I was about 17, went to Crewe to go and play, I thought, what was going to be first team football. 6 months after I left West Brom, I got a 10-year sentence for armed robbery, so that was a massive change around for me. So from there, prison, massive transition, took a lot of self-development, a lot of adjusting on my mindset, and once I was released, I struggled for work and I struggled to provide to the level that I felt I could. So it took another few years to go through my own personal journey of working, not working, the knockbacks, rising back up, to the point where I got some good, strong people behind me and said, look, this is what I want to do, what do you think about it, is there anything that you can help me with, and can we put this together? Took months again, but we did it, and so we're here now.
That sounds really good. So, you're from like a sports background then?
Yeah. All my life I played football. That was the only real thing for me, to be honest. There was no other route. That I just, from school, I got took out of school to go and train, and even though academically I wasn't bad, but I was only focused on that. So as a sports person at that time as well, that kind of ruthlessness to achieve what I wanted to achieve just transitioned into something that it really shouldn't have, and I got a harsh reality of it, but I'll come out the other end.
I was going to say, so you're saying you've always been determined then?
Yeah, and it's hard to channel that into the right things sometimes, but with the right mindset and putting it into the right things and the right vision to what you want to do, it is achievable, and not just for me, for everyone else too.
In terms of your transition, when would you say you started your transition from your old life to your new life?
Block time. So I was the type of friend and the type of person to, if I was with you and we were just together but we were on the wing and you weren't really my friend but you were the person that I was with and whatever, and you got into a fight, then I got into a fight as well with you, and it was happening too much, and I realised that you're here on your own. I'm getting myself dragged into these things all the time, and it's too much. I'm spending so much time alone, never got a TV, getting shipped out from jail to jail because of these things, and I thought, I've got more to give than this. I've got more to provide, like I'm a better person than this. And I'm not saying that people who haven't quite made that transition yet aren't good people, but there's ways and means of getting things out of life that you can get, and all the prison time and everything else wasn't what I wanted for my life or for my family.
Can you remember a specific moment where you thought, oh, I've had enough of this?
No, it wasn't so much a specific moment. It was a gradual, it was progression, because in young offenders, you know yourself how it is, and you know how things kind of go in there, and the chance of me calming down and really focusing in there was slim. When I went to adults prison, when I went to adults prison and I was around more organised criminals and people that were calmer, and there was more structure on the wing and organisation on the wing, and I was able to calm down and read books and speak to people that had a little bit more to offer than just fighting and throwing pool balls around and stuff, and had some people around me that were in jail for some pretty heavy things, but as you'll know yourself, it doesn't mean that they're not switched on, and they're quite clever people, some of them, so I really started settling down when I moved to adults prison.
In terms of like your progression or your transition, what would you say is the main factor that's kind of got you to where you are today?
Not wanting to go back, and understanding that there is an issue regarding reoffending and employment in the UK especially, and it shouldn't be so much of a struggle. It shouldn't be so hard to provide for your family at a decent level when you're qualified to do it. So I'll give you an example. I did quite a lot of education towards the back end of my sentence, and I'm highly qualified in like nutrition, personal training, all that kind of stuff from my sporting background, because that's what I was interested in. I was gym orderly for like 2 years, and that's what I did. So when I came out, I just kind of transitioned into that. But then regardless of my qualifications, I could never get a salary or get a contracted job. Do you know what I mean? It was always self-employed, and if I didn't, you know, get the clients and everything else, then I just wouldn't have any money. And I had a young daughter then at that point, and my clients, because I was doing quite well really, personal training, but my clients were before work and after work. So I was never seeing my daughter. So it was like, I need to do something else. And then that's when like a real struggle started, in a sense of, I can't provide, like I need to, and I was doing like slaughterhouse jobs and things that I was not overqualified, because I don't want to be ignorant in that sense, but I felt like I can give more. So I still did them. And then I ended up working on site, on a site that was doing 14 apartments in Hinckley. And that's where I was given an opportunity really then to build, because the money still wasn't very good, but I could provide and I could work on something for myself. So then obviously this is where Next Life has came around, and I've really been able to push forward because of that opportunity, just working on site.
How important do you think employment or self-employment is to transition to kind of staying out of jail?
It's absolutely pivotal. It's as important as housing. Yeah. So if you come out, so for structure, in my opinion, employment, housing, family support, not everyone's got family support, and if you haven't got a roof over your head on top of that, and you're definitely not working, the recipe there is just the revolving door again. And it's a shame really. So that's why our company now, we're working close with a company called Response Accommodation that can provide accommodation for people that leave prison. And if we could play our role in helping these people back into full-time employment and closing the gap from being released on a Monday to being employed on a Wednesday and getting paid the week after, be really trying to give people an opportunity to not have to struggle. I've got friends, and I'm sure you've got friends, and it's just, they're good people, but when someone's desperate, they do things that are out of character and that they feel like they have to do. If I can just help, just in a slight way, then I'll be happy about that.
In terms of what Next Life, what you kind of bring to the table, how is it structured for say, an inmate now? Like, let's say you had a live referral now, and they're in, I don't know, Stokeheath. How would it work? How would the kind of structure work?
Okay, so our business model at the minute, we're starting with Shaw. I've been for a meeting there today, and then it'll branch out to the six prisons across the West Midlands. So we will go into the prison. They will have to put an app in already, because the OMU officers will already be pushing Next Life towards them anyway and showing them the job opportunities. So they'll know about that while they're still in prison. When they've got about 6 weeks left, we'll go in and do employability courses with them, manual lifting, first aid, things like that, introduce ourselves and give an overview of the business. If they are then happy again, we'll still keep liaising with them about the job opportunities that we've got. And then when they're about a week from release and they're happy and we're happy, because they have to represent Next Life to a good standard as well, because I'm putting my neck on my line here to show that we are fit and able individual. Just because we've been to prison or just because we've been in trouble doesn't mean that we haven't got a lot to give to an employer. So they need to understand that too. And then once everyone's happy, when they've got about a week to go, I will register them in the prison. So then when they come out, they can pretty much go straight into a job role.
Is part of what Next Life offers, is there a digital component to what you're offering?
Yeah, so we're on our social medias. Next Life Recruitment is on Instagram and Facebook, and I've got a phone number and an email as well, so referrals can come directly to me, and then if they're already out, they'll just go through the same process that we would in there and do it out here in one of our offices. So.
And in terms of the employability, what kind of skills are you giving to them inside?
Okay, so it's hard because it's not a one shoe fits all kind of thing. There's so many different varieties of people that are within the prison service that it has to be more detailed to them. So I've got a course facilitator that I work with quite closely, and we'll do one-to-one interviews with them, and we'll do group interviews with them, and we'll see what their needs are. And when I say that, I mean someone might be absolutely brilliant reading and writing or whatnot, but then have no social skills, or do you know what I'm saying? So it has to be tailored to each person so they can represent themselves well and represent us well, and then hopefully not have to re-offend again.
So you've got a section of your business that provides therapy, all different types, like as in
mental health therapy. Yeah. So it's not a section of my business, but it's someone that I work closely with, and I will subcontract out to them. So where they work closely with us, so it's just a branch where that's fine. They're there. You two can have a chat, kind of thing, and not keep it so. People maybe wouldn't want to speak to me. It's a nice lady that they can speak to, and so maybe it'll be a little bit easier if they need the extra arm around them. That's there for them, because obviously I understand that not everyone will want to say, yeah, I will work with a therapist, but if that's available to them, and if they do need an extra arm around them, or just, because some people might have been in jail for X amount of time and not have the, like the willpower to say, I'm struggling, and just not turn up. And just, rather than that happening, if we can prevent that from happening before it does, then, it's giving everyone the best opportunity to do well.
If there is an advice you give somebody thinking about making the transition, as you know, it's not a simple process. And, sometimes it's like by things like this where people can kind of see, well, this guy's made a change. Is there any advice you give to somebody making the change? That what do you think will be important for them to kind of...
The most important thing for me is mindset. Your mindset can absolutely cripple you, just like it has done to me numerous times, or it can show you a different level beast that's inside you that can do anything that you want. So don't be scared to pick up a book and develop yourself, and look in the mirror, and sometimes break yourself down and say, this is what's wrong and this is what's going wrong for me. And if you seriously want to move forward with it, I think you have to be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself about what works for you, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and work through them, and put yourself on that kind of journey, because people aren't going to help you. Like, they'll help you as much as physically possible, but there's a saying, and you lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So it comes from in there, and you have to want to do it, and you have to want to be better, but sorting your mind out and improving your mindset. And listen, I know it sounds cliche, podcasts, different books, people's other life experiences, these kind of things resonate to people more than they think. So just use them. YouTube now, what we've got at the tip of your finger for free, you can hear two multi-millionaires having a conversation and you haven't even got to pay a penny for it. So just use it, and don't be afraid to admit what's wrong, because until you do that, you're never going to see that's a problem.
In terms of your own transition, how has it impacted your family, as in from how you were before to how you are now?
Less stress. So I was a lot younger, and it's hard really, because what we're trying to do now is affect so many other people's lives, and it's hard for them to see still now that because of all the negative impact that I've had, as in stress, worry, not knowing what's happening, like it's probably the same as most of us in the room. I think the impact it's had is just the impact that it's had has allowed them to see that, I really am trying to, it's not just me now, it's not just about me. If I can help people go through that transition too and help them into steady, solid employment, then that's the biggest thing, in my opinion.
It's a bit of a strange question, but are you proud of yourself now?
Not yet, because there's a lot to do, there's a lot more to do, and I'm sitting here saying, I'm really proud of myself. Yeah, I am, but I am because I'm not back in prison, and I am because you're here, and I am because I've been to Hull this morning for a meeting about getting people that are in prison directly into work. So to an extent, yes, I am, but there's so much more to do, and I'm not stopping yet. I'm not even started yet. So there will be a point, hopefully, when I can say to you, do you remember what you asked me? But as we stand now, I'm proud of what I've done to a certain degree, but there's a lot of work to do.
All right, final question. How would you rate your quality of life now as opposed to before you made the transition?
A million times better. A million times better. I sleep at night.
A few people said that.
So when I say that, the door can't come off because I know that I know I'm okay. Like I genuinely know, and you'll understand what I'm saying. You know when you are not doing anything wrong, and you know that. I spent a lot of time in prison, and I was 18 to 24. So this is the period of time where all my friends grew up, all my friends developed. They went to uni or learned this skill or that skill or built their career, and I came out and had it all to do, and it still took me a few years anyway to do that because I was making all the same mistakes as I was when I was 18 because I still hadn't developed. I had in some aspects of my life, but I wasn't quite there yet. But as regards to quality of life, I've got a beautiful daughter, I've got a beautiful stepdaughter, and I know that I'm safe, and I'm trying to help other people do the same, and it will change my family's life along the way, so I'm definitely got a better quality of life now.
Fantastic. Just what are the next steps for Next Life?
To do our job well and to make sure that the service we provide is absolutely spot on. As we stand right now, we're still going through transitions of how, like, say, it's due to COVID and things like that, getting in the prisons is tough. So we've had to like change it around a little bit and start doing some inductions on the outside. But the progression for Next Life is to start with getting all 6 prisons fully rolling every 6 weeks, every 2 weeks, into the prisons, get a full flow of candidates, and really start making a difference in these people's lives.